Did Mr. Epstein ever request that you introduce him to Victoria's Secret models?
Never.
And I just want to clarify your testimony earlier, but did you ever receive any massages from any young woman or girl brought to you or by or introduced to you by Mr. Epstein?
Never.
We discussed Mr. Epstein's arrest previously, but I would like to return to it just to make sure the record is clear. In 2005, police in Palm Beach, Florida began investigating Epstein. In July 2006, Epstein was arrested for the first time for soliciting prostitution from minors. Prior to Mr. Epstein's arrest, were you aware of any investigation into Mr. Epstein?
Not that I recall.
When did you become aware of an investigation into Mr. Epstein?
Probably whenever it was in the press. I don't know when that was.
And you mentioned the press. Was there anyone that was a part of your business that may have alerted you to his arrest?
Could have been.
And for the record, did you have any knowledge of illegal activity by Mr. Epstein prior to his arrest in 2006?
The only thing I recall is my chief of staff told me, and I don't know, he knew press, whether it was the newspapers or radio or TV, that that Jeffrey had been accused, or a woman was suing him for, I don't know, being aggressive. And I remember calling him and saying, "What the hell is this?" And he said, "I was being shaken down by a hooker." And I believed him. And I think the follow-up to that conversation was, I hope, you're not bullshitting me. Because if it is, the party's over. He said, "Absolutely not. Do you think I'm stupid?" Which is probably what I would say to an attorney or say to you or anybody that I worked with. If you do something off, you're out.
So after you had that initial conversation with him, did you discuss the allegations as they were being investigated with Mr. Epstein, excuse me?
No, I don't think I discussed it. It was done, and I believed that he wasn't stupid.
And you mentioned your chief of staff. For the record, who is that?
His name is Bruce Saul, and I met him through an acquaintance.
Answer the question.
Okay.
It's going to help if you answer the question that he asks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
We'll all get out of here a lot faster.
Did your chief of staff have any relationship with Mr. Epstein?
Other than, so how do I answer it? I don't, none except if he would call him and I would know, everybody knew where I was all the time. So if somebody wanted to find me, would he call Bruce or call my admin? Where's Les? Because I try to be available to people, but I don't tell everybody where I am and where I'm going because I'm traveling so much. So it would be, I would guess, conversations. I'm speculating that those conversations might have happened.
For the record, you were surprised by Mr. Epstein's arrest?
Yes.
Do you recall people around you being surprised by his arrest?
Don't specifically recall. Probably at the time they were, but I don't remember it.
Do you recall whether anyone around you advised you that you should cut ties with Epstein after his arrest?
I'm going to instruct you not to disclose any communications you had with your wife or your lawyers in answering that question.
So are you asserting, for the record, attorney-client privilege and spousal privilege?
Correct.
to be clear, the House does not recognize common law privileges. And so if you are asserting that in order for him to not testify to those, in order to preserve that, we may discuss and may take that to the chairman for a ruling. And potentially may direct your client to answer those questions.
That's fine. The Supreme Court has also made clear that those privileges do exist in the congressional context, and I doubt very much that whatever his answer would be to this is that important, but I'm directing him to preserve those two privileges, those two well-recognized common law privileges.
I forgot the question.
Go ahead, Master.
After Mr. Epstein's arrest, did anyone around you advise you to cut ties with Mr. Epstein?
And I'm going to, again, arrange you to answer without discussing any communications you had with your wife or your lawyers in answering that question. So you can go ahead and answer.
I'm confused again. Did anybody? And then the answer would be nobody. I can't remember anybody.
Did you instruct your companies to do an internal review of your company's relationship with Mr. Epstein at this time?
I probably would have, but I don't recall. That would have been anything that was untoward that happened in the business, around the business. I would always say, this has to be investigated. And I would always, in community and in business, have the same attitude. But I don't specifically remember.
Were you suspicious of any others around Mr. Epstein that they may have aided in the solicitation of minors for prostitution when you learned of his arrest?
Can you repeat the question?
Let me clarify. Mr. Epstein had individuals such as Maxwell, Sarah Kellen, among others who have been identified as potential co-conspirators. Were there any individuals that you understood to be affiliated with Mr. Epstein that you may have suspected to have aided in his crimes?
No, because I don't recall any people around him and his business. My business is with him. I don't know my attorney's admin or who his associates are.
Mr. Wexner, we're approaching the end of our hour, so I will just ask you one final question before we take a break. With the benefit of hindsight, were there any things you witnessed or observed about Mr. Epstein that could have suggested he was trafficking and sexually abusing women?
Absolutely not. I've asked myself that question over and over, why I didn't see there should have been a clue or something that I should have picked up on. There's nothing that I can recall, nothing, not even a clue of a clue.